In the last video, we have learned about the global variable in Solidity, that what type of global variable we have, how we can update it, and how we can access in constructor and in function. So if you haven't watched, I'll link in the I button or in the description so you guys can follow that. In this video, we'll learn about the view keyword in Solidity, that why you should use view keyword. You guys have already seen a couple of examples in the previous video, but in this video, we'll try to understand even in deeper level. Okay, so here I've opened my remix id, make sure to do that, and here I'm going to provide this comment view. Okay, and I will create a contract. I will call, let's say, view, and here I'm going to define a couple of state variables. So I'll take a unt and I will define two predefined value and number 2. Okay, so they have taken two state variable and I have assigned value to that. Okay, so now let's write a function so we can check the state variable value. Okay, so let me give this comment using view to check the state variable. Okay, let's write the function and I call get result. I'll make it public, and again we have a detailed discussion about this public keyword, and this is how you define view keyword. Okay, view keyword. Okay, view and result, and here we have to provide the data type which we want to return. That's the general convention. So we want to return unt. Okay, unt, because we want to return two unt. Okay, and with this function what we are trying to do is we are trying to access the state variable which we have defined and to see that what value we have here. Okay, so here what we're going to do, we're going to return this, and we want to return this num1 and num2. Okay, so that's the simple function we have written, and we have used this view keyword. I will show you that when you will not use the view keyword, what error message you will get. Okay, so we have this function, just simply save it and we have compile it. Okay, and let's make it capital and make it capital. That looks pretty good. And now let's come here and simply delete this one and redeploy the contract, and here we got the contract, and you can see we got this function, and we have used this view keyword to access the data of the state variable. So let's click on this, and here you can see we got the data of the state variable. Okay, u2 and 7. Okay, so that's how you can see the data of the state variable using the keyword view. Okay, now if I comment this and if I create another function, I'll say what if I want to calculate. So this function will allow me to do a certain calculation, and I'm going to use that calculation to have an output, and final output I'm going to assign to my state variable. Okay, so let's follow along with me. So I'll create this get result, and I'll say public view return, and I want to return this unt and product. Okay, and unt and total. So this is the one way you can define whatever data you want to return. Okay, so here I'm defining at the function level that this is the product and total I want to return from this function. Okay, so you have multiple way to return unt, and I call num1 20 and num2 30, and I want to sum them. Okay, so I want to return this product, so I will simply say product, and I'm going to multiply 1 and 2. Okay, 1 and 2, and the same thing I'm going to do for the total. I will simply add them. Okay, so that's the simple. I have taken this local variable. Okay, and that's what I'm returning from here. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Now if I come here, deploy the contract, and if I click on this deploy, you can see if I call this function here, you can see I got this data. Okay, I got this data. It's looking absolutely fine. Okay, so we can perform internal calculation as well with the use of view keyword. Okay, and this function will not create any impact on the state variable. Okay, you will see in later. Okay, so right now what I want to do, I want to simply use those two variables here. So if you can see here I'm getting this error message. Okay, did you mean num1 num2, because we have comment out this one, that's why we are getting it. Now I want to use this two variable and I want to update that. So I will say num1 num2, and this one is n, capital N, this one is capital N. So this time what we are trying to do, we are trying to use the state variable. Okay, we want to use that state variable to do certain calculation so we can use it. Okay, this time we are using state variable, and because of this view keyword we can easily able to access. If we don't provide the view keyword, we can't able to access that state variable. So we have the state variable there, and now if we deploy that, we can easily able to have that output. Okay, you can see now we can easily able to use that state variable. Okay, and that's happening because of this view keyword, and that's such a lifesaver you have. Okay, such a lifesaver you have. Now what I want, if I come here and if I want to update the data further, so the state variable I want to update that with the help of this function. Okay, so I'll take num1, and if I say plus 5 and num2 plus 7, and here you can see I'm getting an error message, because now what I'm doing with this function, that I'm trying to change my state variable. So I have predefined state variables, but with this function I'm trying to update that, and I will get an error. Okay, because I have used view keyword, and view keyword you can only use to see the data of the state variable. You can't do any changes. Okay, you can do the changes in the locally, but you can't do the changes in state variables. Okay, so these are the two variables I have, and here we are trying to update it, you can see, but we are using, if we remove this view keyword, okay, so we'll get an error. Okay, if we simply remove this, and now we'll not get any error. Okay, everything's looking fine. And if you call this function, you can see here we call this function and get a result. You won't get anything here, but you can see in the logs, you can see this is what we got as an output. So we have product 98, we have total 21. Okay, so this is the output we got, and we have successfully updated our state variable as well. Okay, so if I make it public, let's make this public as well, and let's redeploy the contract. If I open it, if I call this function, you can see I have 2 and I have 7, but the moment I will call this function, you can see I have this 7 and I have 14. So I have updated that, so things are looking fine. Okay, the main thing you have to understand here, that if you want to do any changes in the state variable, you can't use the view keyword, you have to write a normal function. But if you want to see the state variable data, you can use the view keyword. Okay, so that's the funda you have to use. If you type view, you will still get an error, so you can simply comment, and everything is okay now. Everything is okay now. So that's the state variable, and let's simply copy and let's make it this, remove this one, the one I want to have a normal return. And if I want to return this product and total, I'll get an error. You can see I'm getting this error because I have to define the data type as well, because earlier I was saying that the data type is product unt and it is product, so I don't need to do define the data type one more type here. Okay, so here I have to define the data type, it's unt and it's unt here, and now I can easily able to return the data from here. Open, call it. If you call this one, this is the data what I get, and things are looking good. I hope these things are making sense to all of you guys, that how you can use the view keyword. The only thing you have to focus, that if you use view keyword to see the value of the state variable, okay, you can't, when you want to do any changes in the state variable, you can't use the view keywords. So that's the important things you have to make for this view keyword. Okay, things are looking good, perfect. So that's the only thing I want to cover in this short video, because I don't want to extend this video too long, because this is a very simple concept which you have to keep in mind while developing your contract. Okay, so with that, I'm ending this video. Let's move to the next video.